At the ready.
Welcome to Terry's Kitchen, where we talk food, faith, and family. So today we are making a pierogi casserole, and I have our cousin here, ReRe, who's going to join us, and she's going to be cooking with us today. Her husband Doug is helping Ron on the behind the camera, and we just thank you for ReRe for joining us. And it's going to be a great cooking day, so I really think that and hope that you enjoy today's video. So before we get started, I'm going to read out of our devotion today, and I thought it was fitting. It's out of the NIV Bible, and it's Ruth 1:16 through 18. But Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." So ReRe and Doug, you're my people. So we are together. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, but ever so severely, if anything but death separates you and me. When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. So thank you for letting me read today's devotion. I'm going to wash my hands and we'll get started.
So ReRe, when you get tired of us, it's too late. That's the moral of the story. You're stuck.
Right, you're staying. You're my people.
You know, while Terry's washing her hands, I should be telling you about this bowl because it's important to the Schuster family. This bowl is a Homer Laughlin bowl, and it was Bocce's. So it was in the house, in the pantry, for many years, probably since 1948 at least, maybe even before that when they lived up the road. And it was used by Bocce, I bet, every single day for something because she baked a lot, and she made Polish food a lot. So we made mashed potatoes in them today.
Wonderful. And I also want to... ReRe has an apron on. As you know, I love my apron, and I will not cook in the kitchen unless I have an apron on. And you just kind of want to share how you came about this apron.
Yeah, I actually went looking for an apron pattern. In some of the antique stores have patterns that are old, and many of them are, I wanted one that looked like Bocce's aprons. When I went in there, I actually found an apron. So I bought it a few years ago, and I wear it when I want to think about her. So I brought it today.
Wonderful. Well, I love it. I love the pattern, and ReRe loves to sew, so she's going to be making her own pattern.
Yeah, with bigger pockets, yes. Because she had much bigger pockets than this. You want to switch places?
That is fine. But I also want to show you, too. So ReRe and Doug brought me a bowl that I can do my mixing of our mashed potatoes for our pierogi casserole. And she went antiquing and went to the Cannon Hill Place Antiques in Frederick, Maryland. So this is so nice, and also there's a little side dish that I can use, and we'll talk a little bit about how we're putting our filling together. And
a shout out to the ladies at Cannon Hill because they're wonderful in helping you find what you need.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, most definitely. And Ron and I are going to go on a road trip, and we're definitely going to. So we're coming to visit, and we're going to do some antiquing, and I would love to come by and see the ladies, and
yes.
Because we certainly love our antiquing as well. So what we have before us to prepare our filling for our pierogi casserole, let me start with this. This is actually going to be our noodle base for, instead of making the actual pierogi dough from scratch, this shortcut that ReRe found is jumbo shells. And we have cooked those already. They're ready to go. So in boiling water, and they cooked for 11 minutes. And so they're ready to go, and we'll be ready to stuff once we have everything pulled together.
And if you want to cook them a little al dente, that's okay, because they're going to go into the oven anyway once they're stuffed. So they cook a little more, and by the time they're finished, they really do have the dough taste.
Wow. In the short time to fix that.
Yes, it's just an amazing recipe for something quick.
Wonderful. And we went ahead and have our mashed potatoes. I like making homemade mashed potatoes, and which I cooked the potatoes, and then I mashed them in my mixer, added a little bit of milk and a little bit of butter, because as ReRe said, when we were talking about this, you do not want your mashed potatoes to be too runny because they won't stay in the shell.
Yeah, they need to have that consistency to stay inside the shell. Because when you put the cheese in or any other add-ins, it's even going to loosen it up a little bit more. So you want to make sure you just minimize the milk if you add milk.
Okay. And if you're a working person or you have a short amount of time to get your meal together and you don't have time to make your own homemade mashed potatoes, you can actually use instant or store-bought.
Yeah, you can buy... There are many products out there like Simply Potatoes or Bob Evans, which I've gotten on a few occasions, and I've made shepherd's pie with, and they would be excellent in this. You can't add too much to that because they're pretty creamy.
Okay, okay. So before us too, we have, so the recipe that you're going to see on YouTube is for 3 pounds of potatoes and 2 cups of shredded cheese. I made about 6 pounds of potatoes because I want some leftovers. And I'm going to send ReRe and Doug a pan home for their dinner tomorrow. So we have here about 6 pounds of potatoes. I did about 1.5 pounds of the jumbo shells. And this is probably about 3, maybe 4 cups of shredded cheese. And because I cannot do cheese, I'm going to add chives to my mashed potatoes for my filling. And we have salt and pepper. So ReRe, do you mind just kind of putting and assembling the mashed potatoes?
Yes, and what we'll do is, you have here's a big spoon. What we'll do is we'll add a little, mix it around, salt and pepper maybe, add a little more, and see when we want to stop. Because if we don't want that much cheese, we'll see. So you just basically dump it in. Start with that. Maybe a little bit of, I made a clean spoon. A little bit of pepper, or a lot of pepper. Do you like pepper?
We love pepper.
I put a lot of pepper.
And this is coarse ground, so it's got some good cook.
A little bit of salt, but you can add salt at the table, so you don't need a lot in there. You didn't put any in there yet?
No, no.
Okay, so we're just going to stir that in. Maybe add a little more.
And already the potatoes were a little stiff, but just adding that cheese really, kind of moistens. Yes, it does. Sadie will catch anything that rolls to the floor. And Harley's going to come later, and we know Harley is little Harley Hoover, who always comes into the video looking for anything that's fell to the floor.
I actually think that's enough.
Wonderful.
We'll just do a little bit more stirring.
Okay.
And cover up all those.
Excellent.
Maybe a little more salt, because I didn't put that much salt. I like a lot of salt.
And I'm going to get another wooden spoon for mine when I go to mix mine.
So I think this consistency is just right.
Excellent.
It stays on the spoon, which is what it's supposed to do.
Very good. So I'm going to take my new bowl that I got, and I'm going to add, so I have reserved some of the mashed potatoes, and because I want a little spice, I'm missing out on the cheddar cheese, so I'm going to add some chives to mine. Lots of chives.
I'm going to try that with the cheese and the chives.
Oh, excellent.
At home.
So we can put that in there, anything you want to do. And because my hands are clean, I like sticking my hands in there and getting...
Because I've got some fresh chives growing in the herb garden. So
oh, really? Oh, my lambs, that would be so good. I love any kind of fresh herbs. It seems like that brings such a different flavor. But you have whatever you have in your pantry, go and use. Don't be, you don't have to go just because this recipe says to do this. Make it your own. And a couple of the other types of fillings, the savories, were...
Well, you can do hamburger. You have to just make sure you drain it well.
Oh, okay.
You can do just basic cheese fillings. You can do, there are several different sauerkraut, for example.
Oh, okay.
You'd have to wash your sauerkraut, to get some of the tartness out of it, and then cook it with whatever you like. You could cook it with bacon, crumbled bacon.
Okay.
So it's not too wet when you put it in, so you're going to have to drain it a little bit maybe, and put it inside the shell. You can do that.
Oh, my land.
So there's, you know, almost limitless.
Of what we can...
whatever you could put in a pierogi, you can put in a shell, as long as it's not too runny.
Okay. Well, that is good to know. So our fillings are ready. So we are going to be back very shortly because we're going to go to the oven, to the stove here and saute some onions and butter as we layer our casserole. Okay, so we are back. We have, ReRe has been sauteing the onions and some butter and some salt and pepper. And they are so, the aroma in the kitchen is just wonderful.
This looks good already. We're going to put half on the bottom and then put it back over there for the rest of them for the top. We're going to do one layer of stuffed shells. Let me make this quicker here.
So how much cooking and sauteing did you do?
It only took a few minutes really to get these to a golden brown. And I used probably half a stick of butter.
We love our butter.
Salt and pepper to your taste. And then we start stuffing. So some of the shells, if they get too broken, you might not use, but you basically take a good healthy teaspoon, maybe a little bit, something like that, to fit the shell. And then get a nice healthy 2 bites at least, and then pull them together just like you would a pierogi, only these stay together. You don't have to pinch them. And then start lining them up in your casserole.
I'm standing over ReRe's shoulder because I'm watching how she does this.
I'm thinking, does the recipe say 350?
Yes.
So you're going to preheat your oven to 350.
Okay.
Just pull them together. Doesn't matter if a little bit sticks out. I'll do one more and I'll let Terry take over.
I'll give it a try to see how I do. But the smell, as ReRe is stuffing those, it seems like they're already taking on an aroma of the mashed potatoes and the cheese. As soon as they hit those shells, I started smelling that. So
and the onions.
And the onions together, but the cheese and the mashed potatoes, because I think maybe the shells were maybe just still a little warm. And
a little al dente too.
Oh, okay.
And it's just, that's the amazing part of this, that, that it takes the place of the dough, which is not pierogi dough. I'm not saying it's pierogi dough, but it's darn good.
All right, well, I'm going to give it a try here.
Take this back over and heat these up while that's going.
Okay, so I'm going to try this. Bear with me. I may have gotten too much in here. Oh, I tell you, I just can't, again, the smell. Wish you all were all here and in our kitchen and enjoying, you know, this time together. Now, ReRe, should we kind of smash that a little bit, and maybe should I scoop that off, or not necessarily?
I would kind of round it out a little bit.
Round it.
Oh,
okay, beautiful. Okay.
And and as we said, you can make, you know, whatever filling you like. If you're not a cheese person, then use chives like Terry just did, and maybe some garlic salt and or garlic powder.
Well, that would be good. Do you think I could probably slide it one more in there?
Oh yeah, you can squeeze those guys together. Fit as many as you can.
Catherine, I was telling ReRe off camera that Chris is German. His family is German. And they also, they don't make the pierogies, but there's a place locally where they live in Pittsburgh, around Pittsburgh, that makes them on special occasions. And so Catherine and Chris will buy the frozen pierogies, and we'll have those often. And so now I think Catherine can do this herself, and I think it's going to be a...
Well, you know, if you have a box of shells on hand, grab them when you go to any of the grocery stores. Usually have them. Walmart always has them. And then you've got everything else generally in the house. So it's pantry staples.
Wonderful. So how do you think these would freeze if you made them
yeah,
up?
I have frozen those actually.
Okay.
And leftovers. If you have leftovers, you can keep them in the fridge for a day or two maybe. And then when you reheat them, just put them back in a casserole and just lightly put some tin foil on the top. When you serve them, you can add like a little bit of your special paprika. There's a hot and a sweeter version. You'll find anywhere really that has paprika, some good spices. And it just a little bit on there makes them look real pretty, and it gives it just a little bit of oomph.
Ooh,
You can do that with the fresh ones too when you do it. It's a delicious add to these pierogies.
Okay. ReRe, would you want to help me? And we'll do two at a time here.
Let's do that.
And then we'll get this casserole in the oven. And when the kids arrive, and we're going to show you, just how wonderful. And we're also, in addition to, and this was ReRe's idea too, of something that she had done was, cooking. Do you fry the sauerkraut and the kielbasa together?
What I do with sauerkraut is first rinse it, and I don't like it when it comes right out of the jar. But there are some really good sauerkrauts now in a jar. I always rinse it, and then put it in a pan with butter, of course. And then if I wanted to add onions, I might add some onions to it.
Okay.
And then just push it aside, and then you put your sliced kielbasa on the other side and let that cook.
Oh.
So you kind of have it all together.
Okay. And with the kielbasa is already, pre-cooked. And actually, I have some that I had frozen that I brought out. So we're going to have that with our pierogies, and so having the sauerkraut and the kielbasa, and it's just going to be a complete meal.
Look at this, just like home. I'm dropping mashed potatoes in the
That's
machine.
right. This is real time cooking in the kitchen. In the kitchen. Oh, these are just wonderful.
I think if I were going to stuff this with sauerkraut, I might just do the same thing. I might just rinse the sauerkraut and then put it in a pan with butter and maybe some bacon crumbles.
I'm okay with bacon crumbles.
And then stuff them with that and see how it turns out. I have not tried that yet, so it's just an idea.
And I was thinking here too with ReRe and I, stuffing shells here, and it's kind of like your mom and your Aunt Lottie. Even though they did the dough from scratch, but it's still that fellowship in the kitchen.
Yeah, because look at that. It looks like a little baby. It's not even. It's
That's
all broken.
right.
So what?
And so grab a friend, or grab your mom or a family member, or your spouse, and say, we're going to stuff some pierogi shells. So.
And you really don't have to make the whole recipe. You can do half of the recipe.
That's
so
good,
that
yes.
it takes you less time, and maybe use an 8-inch square casserole. And so, but if you make a big one, really, you freeze half of it.
No, I think it's wonderful. And leftovers, I know, Catherine and Chris take a lot of leftovers. They'll have something the night before,
Yeah.
and then they'll take it leftover for their lunch.
Well, you know what my mom did in the neighborhood? Okay, she made more of everything every time she made anything. So if it didn't get put in the freezer, it was given to the neighbors. So if she knew that, for example, Jane Powell used to live across the street and she was housebound, and she didn't get out very much. She got out sometimes, but my mother would run over there with a plate of whatever.
Aww.
And it was a wonderful thing. And she'd stay over there with her for a while and talk about things. And Jane had a visit, and she had a meal.
I had just shared that in our a video that I had done, and it may not have be the one of the ones. We had done some videos in advance, but I said that same thing. If you have a little extra, like Ron there's very few things that he likes leftover. Potato salad is one of them. He'll eat leftover potato salad or shepherd's pie. or lasagna, but normally he's not one to have leftovers. And so
Doug is the same way.
So that I thought, you know, if you have that extra, there's a lot of people that are by themselves and will not cook a meal because of the mess.
Right.
So wouldn't that be nice, you know, share your food, fellowship with them. It's a blessing for not only you, but for them as well. So ReRe, we have filled our casserole dish. Should we get any more, try any more in there?
Yeah, I would just
Stuff them in there? Do you want me to make some more, put in there?
No, that's good.
Beautiful. So our next, so this is kind of what it looks like thus far. We have stuffed, and boy, I'll tell you one thing, this is, Ron, this is going to be a staple that we're going to have.
Smelling good, isn't it?
And the oven is preheating to, it's almost at 350.
Just spread it around. Once I get them on there, I'll spread it around some more. Get all these good onions, which I love with pierogi.
There's something about the onions and the butter.
Yeah.
That I think,
The butter.
and if you do not like butter or do not have butter in your refrigerator, you can certainly use margarine as well.
And plus, you know, you could use as many or as little. If you're not big on onions, but you need a little bit in there to give it the flavor. Or you can put a lot on there, which I think we're going to cook a little more and put some more on top.
We had, I had cut up about 6 of the onions that I had sliced up, and we couldn't get them all into the skillet, so we're going to saute some more.
We're gonna do it again.
Yes, and so that we can maybe add a heavier layer of the onion. But once our oven is preheated, it is at 350. We're going to saute some more onions, and then we're going to put this in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
And then it's ready to serve to your family. So we'll be back. So we have gotten our pierogi casserole is out of the oven. Looks delicious. The house smells just wonderful. We have our sauerkraut and kielbasa that we have you know, fried up in a skillet. Catherine and Chris have come home from work, and we are going to get ready to sit down and enjoy this wonderful meal. And so let me plate it up here and show you what it looks like. Sorry you cannot be here. I'm going to put some of the sauerkraut here. A little bit of the kielbasa. And as we were talking with ReRe, as we were getting ready for dinner, that applesauce. Anytime that you had anything along the pork line, we had applesauce. So growing up, so I'm going to sit down. We're going to get ready and eat but I just want to thank you all, both of you, Doug and ReRe, for coming today. And
It was a wonderful day.
It was.
It was.
We enjoyed
It was.
it. We enjoyed it.
We heard about memories from past. We've made some new memories today. Catherine and Chris, you know, glad you got to come and have our meal and fellowship together. So love each one of you around this table.
Love you too.
So thank you for coming into our home virtually, and thank you for liking our videos, share our videos, and subscribe, and blessings to you.